Hi everyone, I'm going to be showing you guys today how to store your chokers as well as your mask. This is my preferred way of doing it, and I want to make sure that I tell other people so everybody else knows how I do it. And then if you choose to do it that way too, it's great. And if you don't, and you have your own way of storing your items, that's perfectly fine. I just want to share the way I do it with everybody. Okay, so I normally hang all my stuff in a rack when I first make my items. And I take pictures and then I put it for sale and then I actually store them. So for example, if I made this mask here, right, I use these S hooks. I use these for my mask as well as my chokers, and this is the best way that I could store my items in my work area. So what you do is you put this bottom section through one of the sides slowly, like this, and then it just sits like this. And this is how I only store like my bigger mask that falls under this category of mask, or the thicker ones. And then I hang it up. See? Oh. For my smaller mask, I just always as soon as I finish them, they go into the Ziploc bag. And then I just poke a hole through and store them like this as well. Now for this mask, I hang them up, I take pictures of them on my mannequin, and then I also store those away in Ziploc bags. These are the 1 liter. I store these after in a Ziploc bag as well. So what I do is I take it out of the S-ring. I put it down here slowly. I normally stand them up or sit them this way, but if they have a lot of spikes, I put them sideways. So, and I just poke a hole through here. I feel like this is a really good way to store your mask because it just keeps it clean, you know, like it won't catch any dust or stuff in the air. What I would do if I was someone else that purchased this, if you don't wash your mask like the moment that you come home from wearing it the first time, I will definitely have like a different Ziploc bag. Like if I go out and wear this, I will put it in a bag, like let's say this one, right? But then if I went out and wore it or whatever and I wash it, I will keep it on a separate bag, like on a completely clean bag where it has not seen the outside world or the mask hasn't seen the outside world. This is also a really good way for you to store it even when you go out or have like multiple bags. So then you can wipe the inside and stuff if you keep the mask in your car or such a thing, like wipe the inside after each use, you know, in between washes and stuff. Definitely wash your mask after wearing it, or I don't know, everyone has a different technique, you know, like some people wash their mask after wearing them a few times. I use a different mask every time I leave my house, and if I wear it again before washing, it's been sitting there for like at least a week before I put it on again. Okay, I'm just gonna give a quick example of like the bigger mask. If there's a bigger baddie that you could put them in, that'd be great because of the spikes. But like this one it should be alright to put this big one here. But if you purchased a bigger mask with more spikes than this one, which most of them have generally like are similar to this in the spikes. But if you purchase a mask that has spikes on this side and they're really big, I definitely recommend to get like a bigger bag when you store these or hang them up. I'll just hang mine here for now, like this. Okay, for my chokers, for the chokers, I do hang them up. Not all of them though. The bigger, crazier, really heavy chokers, I have those sitting down. So this is how I would store a smaller choker. For example, this one. And it doesn't really weigh much, you know. It's skinny. I'll just use one S hook for it and then store it. Alright, so this is for that one. If it's a little bit if it's a little bit heavier than that and it's similar to that in the size and stuff, for example this choker, like the chains make it heavier and the rings, for sure I will use a double S-ring for each side, because you want the weight to stay even. That way it doesn't tear. If everything is like on one hook like the whole way, I feel like it's not really good for it. None of the ones I have torn or nothing bad has happened to them, but also because I like to distribute the weight evenly when I hang these up. Okay. Now, for bigger chokers, like these ones, or the one that I am wearing, I also do two S-rings for these when I hang these up. And I feel like it's just a lot better to do it this way. Everyone has a different method. I do not recommend stacking all of them on top of each other unless you're like super careful that, you know, your stuff's not gonna get like tangled or messed up in any way. Okay, for any choker that has accessories that come apart from them, for example the one that I'm wearing has these chains, has the smaller chains. These are okay keeping them on if you store them that way. I still take them out. I just take everything out that is detachable from the choker, especially these chains that are actually, I think, heavier than the choker itself. I definitely take these out when hanging them. So for example, there's Upcycle, has a bunch of chains and things that come with it, which is this. And these are actually pretty heavy too, like the ones I'm wearing. So for these, I definitely take anything that comes apart. That way the weight distributes itself evenly. And I also, for these big ones, I do it on both sides. So I hook it here and this side. See? Something that's super heavy, I definitely do not recommend to hang it. Just lay it sitting down sideways. But I'm going to give an example if you do hang it up. I would suggest doing 3 S hooks. I have it in 2 for now, but I will do a 3rd one here if I'm hanging them all the time. But for something like this big, I definitely recommend to just lay it down sideways or like flat, you know, because these are really heavy. Like this is so much heavier than those chokers there. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Now if you have a lot of chokers and things like this, and if you live in a house, or I mean if you live in an apartment, if they do let you drill, which I feel like every place is so different and it's usually not recommended to put things on the walls and ceilings. What I do to store my items, which is like the mask and stuff, as well as the chokers, I have different sections in my garage area, and I have ceiling pipes. So, hold on, I'll be back. Okay, so, I had this crazy idea one day, and I told my husband, like, I want to just have everything in the ceiling, because otherwise I have absolutely no space for the stuff that I'm making. And I like showed him pictures of like pipes, and I'm like, well, just this in the ceiling with like a closet rack. Like, it shouldn't be that hard, right? And he was a little bit confused at first, and he understood what I meant when I went to the hardware store with him. So, I mean, Home Depot, Lowe's, like whatever hardware store is closest to you, it should be like $10, $20, $30 max, depending on like how big you want it or what you end up doing to. But this is what I use. I use a big PVC pipe. They have different ones, and we managed to find thicker ones the last time we went to the hardware store, so they don't like, they're pretty sturdy. And these are the closet rods that we use. You can use whatever ones you like. Like, there's so many of them, but these are the smallest ones I could find to put enough of them next to each other on my ceiling. So let me see, how do we do it? So we put it in the ceiling like this, and then we drill a hole through the pipe. So let's say the ceiling is right here, right? You put the pipe and you drill a hole, and then through this smaller hole, or you could even use like a zip tie. You put it like this on the ceiling, and then it allows me to hang with S-hooks all of my items. And I just dropped something. So yeah, that is how I store my items. I'll probably post a picture at the end of this, or a small clip of what my garage looks like. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about storing your items or any other thing that you could do depending on the area that you live in, or like if you're in a smaller space, which the pipe is what I would recommend if you're small in a smaller space like myself, but a lot of us can't do that. Maybe a rack would even work. I have a smaller rack from Amazon for like $20, so that's not really bad and the price. So yeah, if you have any questions, comment below and I will try to respond to them. Alright everybody, so this is what my garage ceiling looks like. These are new pipes that we just added, and the left side are my mask hung up, and it's also how I hang up my chokers.